The Mets' 2023 season was no short of a disaster. From the very beginning of the year, nothing went right for the Mets. They had countless opportunities, but every game it was something else. This game, the bullpen's bad. The next game, no one can hit. Oh, whoop-de-doo, another pitcher's injured. What do you know? To be a Mets fan in 2023 truly might have just been as bad as being an Athletics fan. At least the A's knew that they were going to be awful going into the year, but the Mets were not expecting to be bad. They were expecting to be incredible. They were expecting to be a World Series contender. And it just didn't happen. They only got better last offseason. I mean, they added Justin fucking Verlander and Kodai Senga into the rotation. Yet pitching was still somehow a problem. All year, it was always something for the Mets, even before the season began. Of course, losing Edwin Diaz, it killed them from the very beginning. It became apparent that the tactic of spending every dime that they had was just not going to work. It's something that used to be able to work for the New York Yankees, but the Mets cannot do it in this modern day era. You need prospects to come up and you need to go ahead and develop them. You need to be able to pull off good trades and also, of course, make good signings. But you can't just make all of your guys signings. They went balls to the walls, not signing everyone that they possibly could, and instead they had to blow it all up because it failed. The good thing for them is that they have an owner that could care less about the record money he's spending. All that Steve Cohen wants is to win. Winning is everything for Mr. Cohen. That's why it's so great to have owners that are, of course, fans of the teams that they buy rather than just a businessman, because then they want to win just as bad as the fans do. This season was a disaster. I mean, anyone could tell you that the Mets were awful. The Mets front office and ownership took full accountability for what happened this year, and they are clearly on a mission to change the trajectory of the New York Mets. The Mets are in Queens, New York, and you just cannot afford to be a losing team in this type of a market. The fans will turn on you just as quick as they might like you. And that's exactly what you cannot have happen in such a big market, is the fans start turning on you, because they did in 2023, but in 2024, you need to show improvement. Luckily for the Mets, this year, they realized by the trade deadline that they were just not working as a team. So they went ahead and traded superstar pitcher Justin Verlander back to his former team, the Houston Astros. Verlander was really good for the Mets, so they ended up getting quite the piece in this trade. They managed to get 2 top 5 prospects, as a matter of fact, in the Astro system. To start, they got Drew Gilbert. Gilbert is a 23-year-old in AA who had a .293 batting average and 12 home runs. I'm going to tell you right now that he's one of those guys that is going to end up being a young star for the Mets. 2024 is more than likely the year that he ends up getting the call into the big leagues, and I'm all for it. You know, this automatically gives them an upgrade in the outfield, and that is something that they need drastically. They don't need old grandpas wandering out there, not able to catch fly balls. They need young talent. Then the other guy who they got in this trade was Ryan Clifford. Clifford was a round 11 pick for the Houston Astros a few years ago, but do not let it fool you. Clifford seriously has all the potential to be a really good player someday. Yeah, he might be a few years away. I'm not going to go ahead and lie to you, he is still in high A. But this guy has really good power, and in fact, he might have the best power out of their entire farm system. The Verlander trade is something that I think is really going to be beneficial for the Mets in the long run. And specifically that lineup. Getting 2 guys who could be really good, that is huge. The other key trade that they made at the deadline was, of course, trading away Max Scherzer. They sent him to the Texas Rangers, where he, of course, won a World Series, but the Mets acquired Ronald Acuna Jr.'s brother in this trade. He's a 21-year-old shortstop prospect in AA, and he's going to be really damn good. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, he's Acuna's brother, but I'm saying it because he is seriously really good. He's the Mets' #1 prospect in their entire farm system right now, and I can tell you one thing, they are banking on him to be really good. He has a good bat, but the best thing about him is the amount of bases that he does steal. He is a base stealing machine, of course, a lot like his brother. The young prospects, I do believe in the end, will be the game changer for the future Mets lineup. But what about the rotation? I mean, I haven't really mentioned a single thing other than veterans being traded. No more Verlander, no more Max Scherzer. So where do the New York Mets go from there with the rotation? That's the question that I think most of New York has, and I think I have the answer. So obviously, last offseason, they signed a Japanese superstar by the name of Kodai Senga. Senga's a 30-year-old, and he had a great first year last season. He was an all-star in Japan several different times. And in his first year of Major League Baseball, he was an all-star. This is the guy that the Mets have got to build around, but who have they got to go ahead and back him up? because right now it's only him at that one spot. But outside of him, they have a very, very bad rotation. I guess Jose Quintana as well, I will say, has been good. 3.57 ERA this year. He's been good, but they still need 3 other guys. So who is it going to be? I think they need a true number 2 or number 1 starter, and that has to be Yoshinobu Yamamoto. There have been several rumors and ties regarding Yamamoto to the Mets. MLB reporter John Heyman said that the Mets have a lot of interest in adding a guy like Yamamoto, and that Yamamoto would likely sign with the New York Mets. The contract would likely be 6 years and $200 million, according to MLB reporter John Heyman. So yeah, they would have to spend a lot of money, but what can you say? That is baseball. They landed one Japanese superstar last offseason. If they could do it again, that would be huge for the organization, because your rotation now turns into Senga, Yamamoto, Quintana, but you still need 2 more guys. And I think that the next best option is very, very clear of what it should be. Seth Lugo, who was great for the Padres last year. He's 33 years old, but he was really, really good. Automatically, he would be an upgrade from what the Mets had in 2023. They are trying to change. They are done with the losing here in Queens, New York. They blew it all up. The 2024 Mets sure as hell will not be a playoff team, but they will in fact be a much improved baseball team. I think the Mets won't be an easy win. In fact, they're going to be a pretty tough win. Now, again, in that division, you're not going to be making the playoffs so soon. They're waiting on a few prospects, and those prospects are going to take time. The Mets are going to take time, and they know that right now. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think of what the Mets are going to do this offseason, and peace out.